Hello, everybody.
And we're live.
Live from Glastonbury.
How's everybody doing? Welcome to our living room.
Today, we felt called to share our fireplace with you because this has been so healing for us, and we wanted to share this healing energy with the whole world.
We have a cup of chamomile tea going. We have a fireplace going. We have Soul Family in the house with us. What more do we want, Soul Family? This is
As you can
so
tell, we're
amazing.
fitting right into England. It's been treating us very well. And the people here
Indeed.
are so nice. Like, it's such a breath of fresh air. It's
Yes.
healing us.
I feel like you need to, as we're waiting for people to come in, welcome everyone. We'll give it another 30 seconds or so. I think you should adjust yourself in the frame a bit.
Sure.
All right. How's everyone doing? We'll give it another 30 seconds or so for a few more people to come in, and then we will get right in.
We've
Sweet
been,
loves. Love the cat behind. I added that touch just before the
yeah, I
fire.
know. Just before we started live, Eldora's like, does that cat look a bit freaky? I'm like, it does, but it's okay.
our soul family will love it.
We love cats.
Yes, he loves cats.
We are cats.
All right. Elvira's in the house. Amazing soul family. All right. So I think we can get
Yeah.
started. This is what we're going to do today. I love you too, Yana Sophia. Cat with a very long tail. Yes, that's right. Okay, guys. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to flow. That's what we do best. Siman is going to start off with an energy update, and then we're going to dive in to something that is possibly the most important thing right now: how to navigate the 3D density. And I can tell you this with complete surety. These tips, along with many other tips that we'll share, but these tips, if you start practicing these tips in your daily lives, in every facet of your lives, you will literally start to feel like your vibration will rise, because we're literally giving you the guidebook to manage, not just manage, but to thrive in 3D density. So we're going to go into about 9 tips that we've written down. We'll go deep into each of them, and we just want to equip you with all the it literally is that little calibration that you need, because 3D is only getting crazier and crazier. So that's our intention for the video. We
And
love you all,
today,
and we'll get started.
today, our guides want you to pay extra attention because they said the tips that they're channeling through us are the very tips that keep us in our 5D mastery amidst all the chaos. So take your notepad out and really don't just absorb it in terms of knowledge, but absorb this information that we're going to bring you today in terms of how you can apply this in your daily life. That's the most important.
The word I'm getting right now is operating system. What's happening right now is that your operating system is getting up leveled. You guys have been given, many of us, like, we come to earth without an operating system manual. We read our religious scriptures, we read our history books, and then we get lost. But if you have an operating system guidebook, and I'm already getting hot, by the way, with the fire.
Good.
If you get,
You
I
look
can
hot.
just turn that, I can just close that when it gets too hot. If we just give you an operating manual of how to go by life in this density, you can use this manual in all aspects of your life. So really, as Siman said, absorb it like an operating system. All right.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to quickly give an overview of the energies that we've been experiencing before we go into the tips on how to navigate this density. So the beginning of the year just started with a bombardment of energy, and it did not stop until May. Towards the end of May was the first period that we really got a breather, like the last week of May until now, that we got a breather where the sunspot activity has normalized and calmed down a bit. So currently, we kind of are going into back into density, like the angelics are purposely lowering the higher timelines and merging them with the lower timelines. So over the past 2 weeks, this merger of different dimensions has been taking place, and there's a reason for that.
And go into detail. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm going to explain that in more
Yeah.
detail. The reason for merging these two timelines is that first, what happens is the galactics bombard us with positive energy and start upgrading our light bodies. So by the middle of May, by the end of May, we've been supercharged with galactic energies, and we've been feeling like more gifts and more abilities coming online. We're feeling more sharp because we've been navigating through intense energies, getting these upgrades, and learning how to navigate in 3D and bring these gifts back to maneuver through our lives more elegantly as the masters that we are. So now what the galactic plan is doing, there's a plan for all of this. They're merging the higher density, the higher vibration of the light workers, and asking us to go back into the 3D density and spread these seeds that we've been harvesting, and spread these seeds into the collective for the people who are not awake. So they are saying that the number of people who are not awake, they're kind of stubborn. They're like, no matter how hard they're pushed, no matter how hard their challenges come up, they don't break the old cycles. So in light workers, there's a gene, or there's a genetic code that we bring that makes it easier. It gives us a higher propensity to move forward with our evolution, recognize patterns, and change things so we can constantly evolve and grow. But in the 3D population, that is not the case. And that's what the galactics are finding a bit challenging, because this ascension is not focused on the 10% of light workers who are diligently working on their path. The galactics want all of humanity to ascend. So now they're asking us to, when the energy comes to a low point, it really means that you have to come face to face more of the 3D challenges. Then that brings you into more interactions in your daily life with people who are not in the same kind of frame of mind as you. They may be vibrating in different frequencies. They may be having different belief systems. And that serves a double purpose. It serves a dual purpose. These interactions, if we carry them out in our mastery, then they raise the vibration of the collective because we're transmitting our light. However, on the other hand, they also serve as lessons of our mastery. So all the gifts and all the abilities that we've harnessed and channeled so far, going back into 3D and being face to face with people of other belief systems of different frequencies, also shows us how to navigate our path with mastery. So this is the period that we've been in so far in the first week of June. But now the sun activity and the flare-ups are beginning to ramp up again. And what this means is, leading up to solstice, we're going to experience a lot more activating energy. So that bombardment of energy and activations and feeling ungrounded and feeling like you're floating in two dimensions at once, it's going to continue at a rapid pace in June. So brace yourself for that. And we're going to share some tips in this video on how best to navigate this time.
Wow. I love that. Seriously, especially when he said it's just not going to stop. This energy is just this energy, this crazy energy that we call these solar flares or whatever you want to call them. They are really here to help us. They're here to help move this planet from the third density to the fifth density. And that's no ordinary feat, because you have to understand that the whole programming matrix of this planet that we call Earth is based on the 3D matrix. It's based on the operating system of 3D. And the best way I can explain that is, if you're walking on the street in New York or London, what do you hear the most? Or Istanbul, where we just were, all you hear is ambulances, sirens. You're constantly bombarded with subliminal frequencies to keep you in a state of fear, in a state of stress, in a state of everything. Even the music, as you guys know, is completely programmed to the frequency of 3D. So what we're doing right now is we're saying, oh my God, we get that. So what can we do? We need to do whatever we can, whatever is in our control, to raise our frequency, to start vibrating the antidote to the 3D frequencies. And what that means is to anchor peace, anchor joy, anchor love, anchor stability, anchor power, anchor boundaries, all of this from within, because then that becomes the antidote to the 3D. So another thing I want to touch on is what Siman just mentioned. We light workers are going into, so what are we doing? What are we all doing? We're learning our lessons at a very rapid pace. And then we're going into 3D. and we're facing our lessons head on. And 3D is showing us where we still have lessons. Your family is showing you where you still have lessons, where you still hold on to superiority, where you still hold on to judgment, where you still hold on to gloating that you're awake and they're not. 3D is always going to show you where you are out of balance. So it's a harmonic relationship. 3D is here as your teacher, but what are you doing for 3D? You're going into 3D and you're shining your light, because every time you transcend a problem, every time you crack a code, let's say you're in poverty mindset and you suddenly realize, holy shit, I've been in poverty mindset all along. Let me activate my abundance. So what you're doing when you go back into 3D is that activated code that you've just cracked is in your light body. And you're sending a signal to everybody in 3D that, hey, this is possible. I've just done it. It's silent. It's happening psychically. It's happening through your light bodies. And you're saying, I've cracked the code and you can too. And that's what Jesus did for us. Think about it. When you say that Jesus was here to leave crumbs and create the Christ consciousness grid, what exactly does that mean? Do you want to get into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're following the path of the ascended masters that came before us. Jesus was one of them. Buddha was one of them. There's many Egyptians, gods and goddesses that walk this planet. What all these masters have done is through incarnating, they embody a perfected state, a perfected blueprint. And that's not to say that this blueprint is reserved only for ascended masters. All of us are capable of perfecting our lives to an extent where we are considered masters. And there's nobody else there to label you a master other than yourself. You will know whether you're a master or not. We keep on striving for mastery. It's not an end goal, it's a journey. So mastery is a never-ending journey, but these embodied masters from ages ago had reached a very high level that you could literally say that their frequency is above where humanity vibrates. So they brought this knowledge and these perfected blueprints from higher dimensions, but also they had to face certain challenges while incarnated as human and re-establish those neural pathways and links within their light bodies as their present incarnations. And by doing so, by climbing the hero's journey through the DNA ladder, they brought the antidote, as EldoRa mentioned. They brought the antidote of all the 3D entanglements that exist on planet Earth, and they paved a way and created a path for humanity. Because if one human living in a human body can do it, then that's proof that all of us can do it, no matter what hardships or challenges we face. And all these masters, they all left us with one single clue. And if we follow this one single clue, we will get the key to life. And the clue is you create your own reality. That's it. It's simple as that. We all create our own reality. So that precludes all victim mentality, all life hasn't been fair to me. We have to realize that our mind is a transmitter receiver. And whatever hardships we came into this life with, even that was pre-programmed, predestined into our life. Maybe we're paying off karma. But when you put all excuses aside, we are the only ones who are in the driving seat. If we're here to live through hardships, then there's a reason for that. It's not random. So we're here to follow the path of mastery, whatever that means to you. For one person, following the path of mastery may mean just surviving. Maybe just surviving in this life is through all the hardships that you've been faced, that you've had to face. Maybe that is enough of a challenge for you to learn all the soul lessons that you came to learn. For someone else, living the path of mastery could be thriving in every way imaginable and showing humanity a higher template than what they know exists. So there's all ranges and frequencies. The key is not to compare yourself to others. You may be a master dealing with a disease, and that's your mastery. And somebody else may be a master in going from a pauper to a billionaire and showing others how to do it for themselves. So don't compare yourself to others, but do your best to be the best version of yourself and realize that your mind is unlimited. Whatever you put your focus on, that's what you're going to create. And you can create anything. You can create miracles.
So as Siman was speaking, this story flashed in my mind, which I'm going to share with you guys. When we were at the New Earth Music Festival, what was it, a month ago? We're in June. I can't even remember. A month ago, time flies. So we have hosted a New Earth Music Festival where 140 or so light workers from all over the world flew in. It was undoubtedly the most magical week of our lives. It was magic. It literally felt like a different dimension. It felt like anything was possible in that vortex. Anything. It was a manifestation portal of all manifestation portals. It's the most powerful thing Siman and I have ever experienced on this planet. And our guides have said to us that this is the highest frequency, or definitely one of the very few times that the frequency on earth has been raised to such a high level that now we have the attention of the entire higher realms because of what could happen. And you guys and us, we all co-created this. So during the festival, there was a beautiful girl, and you probably are watching, I'm not sure, a beautiful girl who came up to me. I hardly got any one-on-one interaction, but she came up to me. She gave me a gift that she had brought for me. She had tears in her eyes and she says, "EldoRa, I've been watching you from day one." And she said, "I'm in a very, very hard situation right now." She said, "I'm in a very controlling 3D relationship and I have no way to escape." And usually I didn't feel called to do one-on-one coaching while holding space, but with this girl I felt very strongly. I think she was a Middle Eastern Muslim background, I'm not sure. And I said to her, she says, "I have 2 sons, and because of these 2 sons, there is no way I can escape. I literally need to run away from my house. My husband is not a good person." And I don't know the details, but for some reason, this example was flashed in my mind as Siman was speaking. So that means the guides want me to talk about it. So what I said to her, this is what came through at that moment for her. I said, "There is always a way. There is always a way. What if the very reason you incarnated on this planet, what if the very reason you incarnated on this planet was to leave the breadcrumbs, just like Jesus left the breadcrumbs for us? What if your incarnation was to leave the breadcrumbs of how other women like you could escape the clutches of tyranny and hardship?" And she looked at me and she says, "I loved your fuck." And at some point she said, "EldoRa, I loved your fuck Mother's Day video. I made a video a while ago, last year, I think, called Fuck Mother's Day." And she's like, "That spoke to me." And when she said that, I got another message for her. And I said, "You know what? If your children right now, they're, I think, 12 or some 12 and 14. I said, they have a point. Just because of your children, you don't need to feel like you're stuck in the relationship. This is coming through for some reason. Somebody here needs to hear it, because the guides would never just randomly give me a topic to talk about. It's very potent. And I said, there's you always. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is you are always in control. There's nothing that's happened to you. You're never a victim. You're never in captivity unless you choose to keep yourself in captivity. So I said to this girl, I said, take back your power, whatever that means, take back your power, because you absolutely can leave this horrible relationship, even if it means giving your children the choice point of saying, do you want to live with dad or do you want to live with me? And then honoring and respecting their decision and understanding everything about how soul contracts work. Because if they're not meant to live with you, they might say, fuck off, mom, we don't want to be with you. And that is okay. And if they want to be with you because they have a soul contract with you, they will come with you. And if they're too young to decide, you need to take care of yourself, because once you're in a stable land, in a stable energetic space, then you are more empowered to be there for your children. What are you doing right now? What kind of example, what kind of a role model are you for your kids? A woman that's, battered and bantered and like living in captivity and who has no voice and no power? Get out. So this was the message. And for some reason, this channeled right now because I feel like someone needs to hear it. So we're going to go into the tips now.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we're going to go into giving you guys, as we mentioned, welcome everybody who've been joining in. We're going to dive deep into literally upgrading your operating system so you have all the tools like masters do in your pocket, so you can just cut through this 3D density. Because right now the guides are saying more than anything you do, this is what light workers need right now. This is what you need. This is the curriculum. This is what you need. All right. So the first one, have zero expectations of others. And if you guys want to write this down, you can. So the first tip, we have 9 tips. We might bring up more tips during. So the first tip, have zero expectation of others. You want to talk to it?
Yeah. So when you think of zero expectations of others, there's a few things we need to define. Like, I have expectations of people I work with. So does that mean if I'm working with someone, I don't expect them to fulfill the promises that they made as part of our work contract? No, it does not mean that. So have zero expectations of others means when you're projecting your expectations on others, that's where you need to bring your self-awareness. However, if others have made a commitment to you, that they've made a promise to you, and for example, someone says, I'll have this report to your desk by next Tuesday. Sure, okay, that's an expectation that they've created for themselves. So you can hold them accountable to that, to the extent that if they constantly fail on their promises, then you will no longer work with them. But you don't project your expectations in a bullying way and make them feel bad. And, that's one thing. Another thing is, we do this all the time. In 3D, we're programmed in our daily lives that this person needs to behave this way. This person needs to behave this way.
Especially in relationships.
Especially in your close family relationships.
Especially in your partner, like with your husband or your wife or your girlfriend.
Like, for example, you could have an expectations that my children need to come to a picnic with me every Sunday. Otherwise, they're neglecting me as they're neglecting their mother. I do so much for them, but they never come out to the park with me. They never do things I like. That's an expectation, to be very honest. When we drop expectations, when we have those expectations of others, you can forcefully make others do things you like, but they won't enjoy them, because you're creating a psychic field around you. When you're projecting expectations, it's an energy of control. It's a narcissistic energy, to be honest. It's an energy that I do for you only because you do for me.
And then they'll feel sick to come out with you.
Exactly.
They'll be like, oh my God, we have to go out with mom again to that stupid Sunday picnic.
Or with your husband, you could have the same expectation. He never buys me gifts, or he never takes me on dates. But when you drop everything and you just realize that you make a decision that instead of being in conditional love, which is always expecting things from others because you do for others, when you go into unconditional love, you can just drop all expectations and just be. And then your vibration suddenly raises into gratitude over time. It's not going to happen right away. But when you drop expectations and start to enjoy your relationships the way they are, that psychic field that you're generating is no longer that of control. It's that of love and ease and peace, where suddenly everybody will be relaxed around you. They won't be like on their tiptoes because a mom or dad are having a bad day, or they're projecting this negativity towards them.
And this is so huge, guys, in your relationships. And I'm going to talk about something that's so trending. It's about light workers, of course, like you guys who've awoken and your partners are still asleep. Your children are still asleep. This is the pandemic. This is the problem. So if we give you a tip on how to navigate that, we've talked about it several times, but it's important to again recap that you are only the captain of your ship. Culture and society on earth, they completely screw up our thinking of, if you're a mother, you completely own, all the decisions of your child till they're 30 years old. Or if you're married and if you're in a relationship where you've signed the marriage paper, you have a lot of control on how your husband dresses, or how much money he should make, or what kind of job he should have,
or who he should speak to and not speak to, even what he should say and should not say.
Let's say you've had a fight with a friend. Now he shouldn't talk to her. All of these control mechanics are all expectations. And the reason this is super important right now is because these expectations are going to hinder your ascension journey. And that is why it's so important. So having no expectations, what might that look like? Let's say your husband wants to go ride a motorbike. This is random. And you are shit scared of him dying on a motorbike. Okay, this is a very real example. Your partner he's a sovereign being. He has full say in what he does and what he doesn't do. So it's very important to not clam up relationships by saying, I don't want you to ride a bike, and that's the least you should give me because I'm in a relationship with you. Because what'll happen is, you'll make each other sick, because there's no personality
It's like
to
you're
just
clipping each other's wings off.
Yes, so it's so important. Or for example, let's say you've not taken the jab and your partner has. You have to come to terms with it. Yes, your partner is not awake. Yes, you are a higher vibration right now. Yes, because you have awoken. However, what if, when we met you and your partner, what if you were the control freak, and what if your partner was actually the one that's a nice woman or a nice guy? Just soak that in for a second, because your parameters might just be control, 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 control. You've taken the jab, now you've done this, now you've done that. You can't force someone to awaken. How would you feel if your higher self forced you and said, you've not awoken now, awake, awake, awaken, awaken, before you were ready?
Eat raw veggies all day.
Like, what if your higher self thrust their expectations on you all the time? You would feel sick. You'd say, fuck off, higher self, I don't want to talk to you anymore. So this is how you're right now in your families, with your children, with your spouses. It is so important to start practicing letting go of expectations. And let's say you get to a point where you've let go of all expectations and really you're not happy, you can leave. You can't change the other person. That's what we're talking about. But you have the full power to leave, or to say, hey, this relationship isn't serving me. It's not suiting me. It's only when you let go of expectations that you can start seeing clearly, so that you can even start making the changes. So we have a mantra that we just wrote down before we went live. Everybody can repeat out loud with me. You may when I read the mantras, if you like, you can place your hand on your heart. I am letting go of expectations.
I am letting go of expectations.
And all preconceived notions.
And all preconceived notions.
Of how others behave.
Of how others behave.
And so it is.
And so it is.
All right. So we're going into point number 2. This is a very, very big one. This is actually my my favorite one in here. Stop thinking of yourself as a victim, and stop comparing yourself to others. There's 2 parts to it, but I'm going to focus more on stop thinking of yourself as a victim. So let's say somebody calls you on something, or let's say you're watching our video. Now, most of the people, there's 2 kinds of people who watch our video. There's kind of people who watch our video who just love everything we say. And there are some people who get triggered and they have to go back and really reflect on, why are we triggered by what EldoRa and Siman said? And then there's a third segment of people who say, oh, we're triggered, there's something wrong with them, and they leave.
They're not aware of their triggers.
Because they're not even aware of their triggers. But most people who watch us are very aware of their triggers, because we've been teaching this like no tomorrow since day one.
And the rule of thumb is, if something's bothering you, it's you.
If you're triggered about anything in the world, there is something you need to clear. So stop thinking of yourself as a victim. Now, one of the biggest teachings that I can offer you is that, or reminders, you guys all know this. One of the biggest reminders I can offer you is that your ego loves to thrive in the realm of victim consciousness. Your ego loves to make you feel like you're the poor little victim. Poor you. Look at how she hurt you. Look at how he hurt you. The 2 of us, the way we work, especially in the office of Christ, I'll give you a very direct example. In the office of Christ with our team, we are the most direct people you will ever come across. You know why? Our guides said to us about a while ago, they said, EldoRa and Siman, if you want to have a thriving business, treat everybody as your students, because we treat ourselves as students. And that was the biggest breakthrough, because now when somebody in the team is, let's say, not powerfully standing in their power, or doesn't have an open throat chakra, or is projecting hurt somewhere, we can instantly nip it in the bud and say, hey, get out of that I'm hurt mentality and take ownership and say, oh shit, EldoRa and Siman said this to me because I've been acting a bit off, and what do I need to clear? And because of this, we only work with the highest vibration people. And why is that? Because most people, if we say to them, hey, this is not something, like, why are you doing it this way? Most people get hurt and, oh, she said this and he said this. But in Office of Christ, they clear it. They say, oh, shit. So stop thinking of yourself like a victim. whatever that means to you, anywhere in your life right now. Let's say you don't have money. Let's say you couldn't come to Tulum and you're like, oh, poor me, I can't do anything. Anywhere you're in victim consciousness, anywhere, get out of victim consciousness. You know why? Because when you're in a victim consciousness in anything, I'm too fat, I don't deserve this, I don't have love, whatever it is, or they keep hurting me for no reason, or oh my God, I'm married to someone who has taken the jab. If you're in victim consciousness, you're in your ego. And your ego loves seeing you have a pity party for yourself. Your ego loves. So the ego's realm is the pity, victim, hurt realm. The opposite of that is your higher self. Your higher self is the creator. The higher self will say, oh, wait a second, why am I feeling hurt? Okay, I'm feeling hurt because I'm projecting on whoever, my teachers, it could be EldoRa and Siman. I'm projecting on them that they said something to trigger me. So I'm sitting in this state of hurt. Instead, I can get out of hurt and say, what do I need to clear in me so that I can rise, use this situation to rise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that hurt or projection or whatever is making you feel like a victim or making you feel bad in any way, that's your ego keeping you trapped in your current reality, because your ego does not want anything to change. Your higher self will always push you forward. Despite your discomfort, your higher self will always push you forward. Your ego will keep you in the current situation. So as soon as you start to realize this pattern that you're keeping yourself trapped in a lower timeline by dwelling and constantly reliving these feeling sorry
Sob
for
stories.
myself and sob stories, it feels good to the ego. But as soon as you recognize the pattern, drop it. Immediately call upon Saint Germain's violet flame and imagine a violet flame burning all this negative energy, and suddenly you'll feel more connected to your higher self. And then open up your crown chakra, bring in your higher self and say, higher self, I'm going into my old repetitive patterns again. What do I need to do? And your higher self will start showing you ways to uplift yourself and say, hey, take back control, go for a walk, do something to raise your vibration right away. Feeling good is the state where we start channeling more of our higher self. So instead of going deeper into the sob story, if we change our environment and start feeling good, take a bath, whatever it is to raise your vibration instantly, if you go into that vibration, suddenly you'll start, more positive thoughts will start streaming in, and you'll go into the direction where you want to go, rather than projecting all the blame on others and staying stuck in your old situations.
And an example I can give that every single one of you, I have a feeling, is going to resonate, is on your birthday. So, we have been so short of love in our lives that we have I was one of them. I had all the expectations that on my birthday, that one day of the year, I will be treated well, I will be made to feel special, because I was so starved of love in my childhood. So when Siman and I got together, one of the first things I harmonized was this one day of my birthday had become like an obsessive day for me, where I expected the sun, moon, and the stars all placed on a platter for me and served with icing on top. And Siman and I are on such a rapid ascension path. We're on the most rapid ascension path of anyone I know on planet Earth because of the soul mission we're on. We have no time to waste on these stupid games. So our lessons were very harsh, meaning when Siman and I got together, it wasn't like a slow ride of, okay, you have 10 years to deal with all of this. It was instant. So on your birthday, let's say you have all these expectations and then you feel like, oh, like crap, like he didn't buy me a birthday cake and he didn't do anything special for me. That's victim consciousness. That's control. That's expectation. So instead, back to Siman's point, what do? You transcend that by saying, screw that. If he does not make me feel special, the only person who can make me feel special is me. So instead of having expectations,
treat yourself to your own birthday instead.
Yes, take yourself out.
Take back the control and say, I'm responsible for my happiness on my birthday every year from now on.
And I will choose what I do. I will choose how much I spend. I will choose where I go, and I will choose who I invite and who I don't invite, because it's my birthday. So these are like,
you can go on a vacation alone for all that.
And then you'll really realize, because what we're giving you guys is also the psyche. Then you'll realize how controlled the matrix is, because anywhere you drive in like big matrix cities, you see these diamond engagement rings, or buy her a solitaire. And then let's say you're in love and your poor guy cannot afford a solitaire. You have all these feelings like, oh, she has a 2 carat diamond and I don't. All of these are matrix control systems. When you get to a point where you reach 5D consciousness, your 2 carat ring, like my 2 carat ring, which is studded with diamonds, and it has a 2 carat solitaire, I don't even know where it is. I can't even remember. Is it in Toronto? Is it in my? I don't care. I'd rather have these crystals that makes, like Siman bought this for me.
That's the most soothing crystal I've ever
He bought
got
this
her.
for me on the internet. He took
It's
my
blue
ring.
topaz.
He measured the size. He ordered it, and that's more precious to me than my stupid $20,000 ring. You know what I mean? So you'll start really realizing that all these, what I talked about, birthday, wedding days, anniversaries, these are all matrix controls to keep you stuck in misery of constantly complaining to your husband or your wife that you're not doing enough, you're not making enough, you're not providing enough. Okay, so there's a mantra for this. Close your eyes, or not, but just place your hand on your heart. I am letting go of victim consciousness once and for all.
I am letting go of victim consciousness once and for all.
I am the creator of my reality and I take back my power now.
I'm the creator of my reality and I take back my power now.
Point number 3, tip
As
number 3.
you're saying that, it's changing my DNA, just so you know. It's not just saying it.
It's changing your
if
DNA.
you really like breathe this in,
Yes.
it'll change you.
Because what you're doing when you state that, because I channeled these mantras just before we went live. So they have a frequency, they have a power to them.
You can even record them and listen to them on repeat.
Yeah. In
all
fact,
night.
what we'll
It'll
do is we'll
reprogram
do Merlin. I know you're listening. We'll do an affirmation meditation that we can release.
Yeah,
It's in the pipeline.
For sure.
But what's happening when you say these things is you're reprogramming your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind is listening to everything you say. So when you say something like, I am letting go of victim consciousness once and for all, I am the creator of my reality and I take back my power now. Whew, there's an energy that
every
gets absorbed.
time you say it, a new layer comes off. And I am is the most powerful way to start an affirmation, because it sends a signal into the universe, because I am is your presence. You are, I am.
So tip number 3, my friends, avoid gossip and drama at any cost. You can explain.
100%. I don't know if that even requires an explanation, but what basically happens is we get stuck in loops of gossip and drama because that's just how society is on planet Earth. On ascended planets, we don't engage in all these lower vibrational frequencies and behaviors because it simply does not serve a purpose. Gossip and drama, why do people on Earth engage in it? A, it's entertaining as hell. B, they have nothing better to do. And C, it means they're not focused on their own growth. They're going in circles. They're hanging out with the wrong crowd. You might be like smoking weed with your friends and all they do is talk about the third person. So you're either hanging out with the wrong crowd or you're hanging out with the wrong crowd, because gossip requires like-minded people to be around you. So if you're finding friends that are constantly needing to speak about others or draw you into stories and dramas or project their own dramas on you, and it's like a never-ending loop, then you really need to change your scenery, because the people you surround yourself with is indicative of where you're going. Look at the people around you. Are they succeeding? Are they your role models? Are they your idols? Then if the answer is no, then stop associating with them and look for people that you'd rather learn from,
who inspire you. And guys,
inspire you.
Also remember, this was actually what completely made me cut off from gossip. I have no tolerance for gossip. Like, we have zero tolerance for it. And you know why that is? It's because when you keep yourself locked in the vibration of gossip, you are locking yourself in a lower frequency of 4D. It's as simple as that. So when you transcend gossip and drama like the plague, like when you hear, like for us, if we hear even the slightest gossip, our energy field starts feeling like poison. So for us, that's why we only surround ourselves with very high frequency people. We do not like gossip, period.
And also, we're very direct. Like once one of our friends started going into gossip, like, what happened with those retreat people from last year? Do you still talk to them? What happened with that girl?
Don't even
This and
repeat
that.
it.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But
We just nipped it in the bud.
The way we do it is
Yeah.
we're very direct. We say, excuse me, this is lowering my vibration, and I'd rather not speak about this
Yeah.
because, you know, it doesn't feel good.
You're not
to me.
getting brownie points by speaking to me about gossip. But let me go into this a little bit more because I really want you to grasp this. Gossip and drama, they both have the same vibration. Drama is, so a very direct example is coming through right now. Many of you know I shared that my ex-husband, his life is full of drama. He's just a drama magnet. So is Siman's ex-wife. And so are many of your ex-boyfriends, girlfriends. So you guys get the picture. He messaged me about a month ago saying, oh my God, like again, lots of drama. And I could have, so these kind of loops will keep coming to grab your attention. I have learned that I have zero tolerance for drama or gossip, even though the stuff he's going through is actually very like, oh my God, like I wish I can just go figure out what's going on. Did he go to jail? Did he actually land up in bankruptcy? What did he do? Like, it's very easy to go into curiosity and gossip and drama. But in our case, it's not even an option. You know why that is? Because we look at gossip and drama as the ivy of poison. Literally, it has the vibration of the ivy of poison. So one reality would be where I'm sitting on Facebook saying, let me go see what happened to that guy, you know, like he treated me so bad. Now, but the other way of saying, I don't care, I don't need to know, I have cut cords with you. And when the universe gives me that bait, after 2 years, suddenly you get an email, you don't go back into that loop and say, oh, I wonder if I should have done something wrong. I wonder if I made this happen. So you have to have transcended your guilt. You should have forgiven yourself because it's not your fault. You need to have transcended your need for drama and constant need for checking and spying on other people's lives. Because here's what would have happened if I had gone back and pried on him or his Facebook. Guess what I'm doing? This is so important. I am now threading myself into his life through chords, and that's why we teach cord cutting.
You're literally reading my mind.
Yeah, I'm literally channeling. Whatever they're telling me, I'm telling them. That I'm talking about all these examples through my guides are telling me. So you're keeping yourself locked in a lower timeline, in a lower dimension, by doing something as small as just saying, oh, really? Shit, he went to jail. All right, let me go figure out let me go see what happened just for 2 minutes. And then you have to repeat this lesson all over again. Do you want to add something to that? It's such a big lesson.
She mentioned the key word, which is chords. So you'll stop engaging in gossip and drama as soon as you realize what happens to your energy field when you're engaging in drama. When you're speaking about a person, it's like you're literally drawing a dark cord out of your heart and handing it to them. And that dark cord is a siphoning energy that's constantly going to siphon positive energy out of you, this energy that you can use towards your own good, and it's going to feed them into a needless, endless repeating cycle of drama and gossip. And you can do that with one person, but most of us do that with many persons. So imagine a person whose whole life is based on gossip and drama. They have hundreds or maybe thousands of cords in all directions, siphoning out their energy into all kinds of needless people that don't have their highest interest in mind. So once you realize that, there's no way in hell you want to maintain that state of being, because you want your energy more.
You want your energy to be pristine.
Pristine and contained.
Pristine.
So we've taught you how to cut cords very deeply in the equinox cord cutting ritual. But basically, you have the tools available to cut the cords and go back to your center and preserve your energy field. And that's the key that successful people follow. They maintain their energy within and they don't allow others to feed off it and siphon off it. And when they maintain their energy field in their own center, their abundance explodes, their success explodes. They're able to focus on their projects. They're able to channel more. They're able to live the life of their dreams. They suddenly become magnets for wealth. They suddenly become magnets for friends who are also successful and like-minded. So your whole reality will shift once you understand the mechanics of energy.
Yes. And for those of you who are new to our vortex, who may be listening, we have 3 offerings. So the cord cutting ritual that Siman just mentioned is at www.eldoraandsiman.love. We'll put the links in the description below. These are the things you need to transcend density. So we have mystery school, we have complimentary, like free mystery school, which is our YouTube, where we give you all the tools and techniques. And then we also have a paid mystery school of our online Zoom calls, which are profound. We do healings, we teach you cord cutting. And those of you who are doing the work that we are putting out are flying, are absolutely flying. And if any of you have not yet gotten on the bandwagon, and this message is coming very strong, many light workers. So I'll give you an example. I recently went to a hair salon for a haircut, and the guy who was cutting my hair, he's like, "What do you do?" You know how 3D people, they just want to talk about stupid things. I was just closing my eyes and meditating, and he's like, "What do you do?" So I said, "Oh, I'm a spiritual teacher on YouTube." And he's like, "Oh my God." He's like, "I'm so excited. That's what I need. I just make all this money, but I'm not happy." And I said to him, "Yeah, check out my YouTube channel. I'm not going to give you free coaching advice. That's not what I do, but go check out my channel." And then I went back into my meditation. He's like, "Absolutely. I'm going to write down your channel." And when I left, I don't shove my channel down people. I wait for them to come and ask me for it and show me initiative that they wanted. So I just forgot about it. And at the very end, the guy who did my highlights, he came up to me and he says, "Oh, can you write that channel down?" I wrote it for him. The guy who cut my hair, he was ready to move on to his next person. So this is happening. This is called cognitive dissonance. When you know something is so good for you, because he literally said to me, "My soul wants this. I'm sick of cutting hair 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. My soul wants this," but he didn't take action. So for every one of you watching who's saying, "I know they've done a really good cord cutting course. I know there's like 1,000 testimonials. I know they've done a really good Markaba activation and healing." Guys, these courses are actually going to change your lives. They're going to put you in a higher frequency. They're going to help you get out of the matrix. They're going to help you get out of density. They're going to heal you. They're going to upgrade you. They're going to activate you. If you're not wanting to do these courses, which are dirt cheap, by the way, they're like anywhere between $111 to $222, there's something wrong in your psyche. And I say this with all my fucking love. There's something wrong in your psyche, and I want you to address that. I want you to look at yourself in the face and say, "EldoRa is actually making a lot of sense right now. Why am I not doing this for myself? Oh my God." And then you go in nature and you clear. You say, "Oh shit, I think I'm still vibrating. I'm not good enough. I think I'm still vibrating. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy." Most people are vibrating this. Maybe I'm still vibrating. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm still vibrating poverty consciousness. Like I can't afford it. If you need to not eat for a week and just survive on apples and bananas and do this course, I would say do it. That is how important these courses are for you. And I can tell you this, no course I haven't seen people on this planet offer stuff like of the vibration that we do. If I did, I would tell you. I would say, "Hey, go do all these courses." And when I do, I will tell you. But guys, like, put yourself first, because there is something blocking you if you're not doing everything. There's something blocking you. And that's why I'm saying reflect. And right now, the only thing that your guides want you to know is that they are really trying to reach you. They are really giving you all the support. Our YouTube channel is a huge support. We didn't have these kind of teachers or guides when we awoken. You guys have the best master teachers sitting in front of you. And I say this with utmost humility and no ego. That's why I can say it. You have master teachers sitting in front of you, giving you a shitload of their time. We're giving you frequencies. By the way, we just uploaded our Mixcloud. It's on mixcloud.com/House of Ra. Please listen to this music, because everything we do music, we do our YouTube channels, we do our Zoom recordings. Everything is with being done with the purpose of activating you, helping you get rid of your own density. So if you're going to sit in your thing saying, "This feels familiar, this feels familiar," who wants to go and do a 5-hour course? Who has time to go and do a 2-day Merkaba course? There is something wrong. And I say this to your face, there is something wrong. So our music, guys, was just uploaded today. It's the Rachild mix. So check out our music. All our music is encoded with angelic frequencies, as well as tuned to 432 hertz. And many times in some mixes, like there was one mix that Siman did in Costa Rica where Jesus came in very clearly and superimposed the mix, and you guys will feel it. When I listened to that mix, I was knocked out. I was knocked out. You can literally feel it. So many, and we made this last mix in Glastonbury. So again, listen to this music. We make music that's very 5D frequencies. We encode them in frequency. So listen to them when you're in the car, when you're in the gym, because they're going to raise your frequency. So again, it's mixcloud.com/House of Ra, HOUSEOFRA. So let's do the affirmation. This is the affirmation for gossip and drama. I am letting go of the need.
I'm letting go of the need
To keep my ego entertained with gossip and drama.
to keep my ego entertained with gossip and drama.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Point number four. Point number four, we're not going to go too deep into because it's kind of similar to what we've already talked about. Letting go of control. So let go of things you cannot control. This is a big one, but we've already touched on it. And that really means if you cannot control what your husband should eat and shouldn't eat, if you cannot control what...
There's a deeper angle to it.
Go ahead. That's perfect.
I'm going to use my own example from our relationship.
Yeah.
In the beginning of any relationship, and this came up for me, I was so used to being in control of my own time in my past relationship, because in my past relationship, it was more like a narcissist relationship where like I would do my thing, she would do her thing, and there was no love. So there was no attraction for us to be with each other. And I was so used to my routine that I used to like do certain things in a certain schedule. And I had my full-time job and I had DJing on the weekends and whatnot. And I was thriving. And then suddenly I got into this extremely loving relationship where our soul yearns to be with each other.
He's talking about us.
Yeah, with us. And our soul we were inseparable. But at the same time, my ego was so used to doing certain repetitive things in a way that required more of my solo time that I felt torn apart. And that's when my mastery training really started. And my guides started coming in and they said, you know what? You need to let go of control, because whatever your heart's pulling you to, that's your higher calling. If that means just sitting in front of a fireplace for 2 hours and just enjoying each other's company while your ego wants to go and make music, then follow your heart. If making music is your higher calling, then follow that.
So another way of saying that is your head's always going to say, oh my God, why are you spending all this time with your girlfriend? You need to go and do this. You need to go to the gym. You need to go this. You need to keep up with your schedule. Maybe this girl is too demanding. But your heart may want to bond with this girl because you know that you're activating your twin flame codes, or you're activating. So it's heart versus mind. And
many people may ask at this point, how do I differentiate if it's my mind or my heart? That's the most important question. That's the golden question. You differentiate by your frequency. If your heart wants to do something, it'll feel joyful and ecstatic. Like if I think of being with EldoRa and just like spending time in nature, in front of fire, my heart just melts. But if in that moment, if I'm feeling like
I need to go work on my next course,
I had to do this next mix and I've been putting it off for so long, it's an irritated feeling. When it's an irritated feeling, it's ego. So that's your like litmus test. If it's ego, it's always going to be like a negative vibration. It's going to be a nagging vibration, like your nagging ex-wife who's trying to control you.
That's the best way to tell.
The ego is always trying to manipulate you and pull you out of a situation of bliss.
Yes.
But your heart always craves peace.
Yes, I love that. So the affirmation for this is, I let go of control and allow things to flow.
I let go of control and allow things to flow.
So the next one is, don't do anything that doesn't feel right. Don't make promises you cannot keep and that don't resonate in your heart. And this is a very deep one, but we'll cover it up in a fairly simple way. So don't do anything that doesn't feel right. So for example, let's say you're used to a routine that You have to wake up a certain time, you have to cook, you have to do this, you have to drop the children, you have this constant need from society to do things a certain way. Or let's say you want to wake up at noon one day, but then your nagging voice of your mother or whatever says, don't be lazy, you can't sleep till noon, what's wrong? It could be anything, it could be this nagging voice. How do you really shift from 3D to 5D? How did we shift? We got rid of all those nagging voices. And right now, we follow our schedule. We wake up when we want to, we do as we want to, and we do everything that we feel like. We don't care if it's the norm or if it's not the norm. We do things that feel right for us in our heart. So, this is something that you can absorb in your own time. Only do things that feel right. If it feels right for you to go to that dinner that your mom has invited you to, then do it. If it does not feel right, be unapologetic and excuse yourself from that. If it feels right for you to accompany your spouse or invite your spouse to that trip that you've been planning, if it feels right, do it. Don't do it because you feel like you have to or that he or she will mind if you don't. Only do things that feel right. And don't make promises you cannot keep and that don't resonate in your heart. Don't just out of your guilt. Don't make promises to your children. Don't make promises to your spouse. Don't make promises that you can't keep. In fact, don't make any promises because
Never make promises out of guilt to begin with.
the minute you make a promise, your ego says, all right, how can I break that promise? Like, you know what I mean? Anytime you make a promise, like I promise, there's no need to promise. Instead, walk the talk. There's no need to make promises.
Yeah, one thing that was coming to me when you were saying that is that many people might be thinking, I'm in a 3D job. There's so many things I am forced to do that don't resonate in my heart, but I need to pay my bills. So what do I do in that scenario?
That's
Let's
perfect.
address that. So if you're in a 3D job that you have to do things that don't resonate with you, but and this may apply to many different situations. I'm just using a 3D job. If you're in a situation where you have to do things that depend, your livelihood depends on that, but you're kind of going in that direction, but you don't want to go in that direction, then there's many things you have to consider. First of all, look at the long-term plan that your soul has for you. If you're in a situation or a job or an agreement with someone that doesn't resonate with your heart, then that should be your first clue that this is just your stepping stone to get where you want. This is not the end goal. Your soul will never put you in a position in the long term into doing things that don't resonate with your heart. Your higher self may put you, or actually I should revert that to, your higher self always puts you in situations that don't resonate with your heart for one reason and one reason only, and that is when you need to learn something. When you're resisting something, you're going to be placed most likely in a situation where you have to come face to face with that resistance and get over it. For example, in the example of a 3D job, your boss may be a narcissist and always controlling and always bullying you, and you have no voice. Then your higher self is always going to match you up with bosses and spouses where you are forced to be in a position where you have to come in a position of strength and start balancing your power. And the moment you balance your power, the moment you get your lesson in that situation, always ask your higher self, what is the lesson in this situation for me? And it will be shown to you very clearly, either in a dream or a sign or in a book or in a magazine. But pay attention to all inputs and ask your soul, ask your higher self, what do I need to learn in this situation if I'm not liking this entanglement? And master those lessons and get out of those repeating patterns. The next job or your next opportunity will be a lot more aligned to your soul's path, and that's just how the universe works. So never make promises you cannot keep. When you're in a situation where you're constantly having to make promises to please others, but you don't mean those promises from the bottom of your heart, it also means the same thing, that you're in a situation where you're trying to navigate through life by suppressing your own power, by suppressing your own voice. You're going in a direction where you think there's more money, there's more success, but it's not resonating with your heart. You have to change your equation, because this world has taught us that the more dollars you make, the more successful you are. And that's just the equation that everybody blindly follows. But if you reword that to, what I'm going to start moving in the direction that pleases my heart, that excites me, that brings me more joy, because at the end of the day, money is not all there is. It's all about that feeling inside.
Yes.
And if we start to expand on our joy and start doing things that um, make us happy instead of making others happy, we're going to start seeing not only our success explode, our abundance explode, but our happiness will explode.
Yes.
And your happiness is your vibration, and your vibration is your highest currency. So always remember that when you focus on your own inner happiness, you're not going to feel the need to please anyone else by making promises or by doing things that don't resonate in your heart. Your 3D job may fall away, and you may start working on the business of your dreams. That's what happens when you follow your heart.
And also, it's very important that if you are in a situation that you don't enjoy and you have a lot of resistance, you have two options. Either you understand that I'm in this job working just, like as a barista in Starbucks because it's helping pay my bills, but I know where I'm going. It's very important to remove that sense of resistance or disgust or blame that, oh, I'm in this job, and go into gratitude. This job is giving you the means to support yourself until you align to your soul's path. And that'll instantly raise your vibration. You'll go away from this disgusted energy of, I'm working with this horrible boss, and you'll say, what's the lesson in it for me? I have gratitude that I'm still here. I'm going to learn these lessons, and then when it's time, I'm going to fly out. So that's how you kind of transcend these situations.
Absolutely.
So the mantra for this: I am connected to the divine through my heart.
I'm connected to the divine through my heart.
And only do things that are aligned with my highest good.
And only do things that are aligned to my highest good.
And so it is.
And so it is.
I'm connected to the divine through my heart and only do things that are aligned with my highest good. And so it is.
And so it is.
All right. So the next one is, don't be afraid to prioritize yourself and spend time alone. If some relationships drift apart because of this, let them go. One of the biggest rookie mistakes that we make in life is that we put all our relationships, all our responsibilities, our children, our parents, our spouses' parents, we put everybody's needs ahead of ours. And this is the biggest rookie mistake we can possibly make, because when we do that, we're literally operating from a half full cup, instead of being the powerhouses that we are, where we give ourselves all the nourishment we need. We give ourselves the sunlight that we need. We give ourselves the nutrition that we need. We give ourselves the rest that we need. We give ourselves the solo time where we just lie down and place our hands on our heart and just say, oh my God, I can breathe. And Siman and I do this every day for whenever we need, we work a lot. We work our asses off. Because we are going at the speed of light. We're always in different projects. But how do we do it? We do it because we also take time to rest. We take time to integrate. We work for, let's say, an hour. We take a 10-minute break. Whatever the formula may be for you, we go out and we get some sun. We do pranic breathing. We infuse our auras with energy. So never be, let's say your partner says, oh my God, you just went to Tulum and you came back after a retreat, and now again you want to take Sunday off to go and meditate or go to that event. Yes, I do. And you have a problem. Why? It should be your attitude. Literally, nobody gets to tell you how much time, self-love time, you make for yourself. Nobody. And I mean nobody. If you're in a 3D relationship or in a household where your children mock you for this, that's on them. So you can either fall for their mocking, or you can say, I don't care what you think. And we'll get to that to the next point. I don't care what you think. I'm doing me. The more you do you, and I'll tell you something super important. If you don't take solo time for yourself, you might be blocking your guidance. because your guides will come to you when you're completely at peace, you're in your own energy. You're not, like in houses where your children are screaming and your spouse is demanding something of you, your boss is demanding something of you. You're not in all everybody else's energy. You step back, you go into your energy. It takes you an hour, like it may take you an hour to just go in the park and clear your head, which you must be doing every day or at least a few times a week, because that's when your guides can reach you. Otherwise, your guides are not even going to bother because they're talking and you can't even hear them. You're on a different frequency. So it's super important to never be afraid to prioritize yourself, even within your relationship. When Siman and I first started dating, that was one of the hardest things I had to get used to. He would suddenly say to me, "It's like, I'm going away, I'm going to the lake to meditate for 4 hours." And I'm like, "Alone?" He's like, "Yeah, I need to go alone." And I'm like, "How selfish is that?" Because in my head, I'm like, "That's so selfish." And he said to me, "Baby, that's actually not selfish. That's actually a good thing." And so I learned the hard way. I'm like, "Oh, that's a good thing." Because I had always thought that was selfish. Because when you're in a relationship, you have to do everything
You
together.
have to be on call.
You have to be on call. You have to be on guard. There's no individuality. And now Saman and I lead lives where we are so powerful together, but we are also walking our ascension path individually, not together. We're walking our ascension paths
We
individually.
treat each other as sovereign beings. We don't
Yes.
impose on each other.
Yes. Yes.
And that's very important.
So the affirmation for this is, I nurture myself by spending time with myself.
I nurture myself by spending time with myself.
I put myself first, and so it is.
I put myself first, and so it is.
So the next tip, which I believe is tip number 7, speak kindly to yourself. When your inner critic is speaking down to you, change your language, break the toxic pattern.
This is super important,
Yes.
guys. All of us have, at one point or another, been faced with a situation where we're being talked down to, and especially those of us who deal with power issues. And me myself, I was not balanced in my power when I was a child. Like some children just have a propensity of having a very like opinionated or very like strong presence, but I was like easily overpowered, and I was a very emotional, very sensitive child, and the universe paired me up with the most like a 3D father. I don't know how else to say it. Like old school father who would like be very alpha male dominant kind, and that completely suppressed me through my childhood. And one of the things that happened was my inner critic was formed by my father's voice that always used to tell me, "I'm not good enough, you cannot do this," and whatever, whatever. I don't want to repeat all the negative programming, but all the ways that you've been told you're not good enough go in your subconscious mind, because as a child, you're just a sponge and you're absorbing everything. And your parents are the first people on earth that you ever know. So you treat their word like as if it's God speaking to you, because you're like, okay, whatever they're telling me, it's supposed to be for my own good. But when your parents are unconscious and they're negatively programming you, that does more damage in your adult life than you can possibly comprehend. Most of us go into our 50s and our 60s and are still dealing with our childhood brainwashing that we're not good enough. That's why many of us spend lives trying to make it, and we don't make it because we have so much junk that we haven't let go of. And when I realized this in my 20s, fortunately, it didn't take me into my later part of my life to figure this out, because I had my kind of like quasi awakening in my 20s, and I started listening to spiritual teachers and learning how the mind works and how to deprogram the subconscious mind. And suddenly I started seeing, holy shit, there's so much programming that I need to let go of in order to like get on with my life. I've been like stunted. It's actually a disability what your some parents dump on us. So I started listening, identifying all the voices in my head that would tell me that were not mine, that would tell me I'm not good enough. And then I realized that this is what's keeping me from my goals. And I switched it. I started speaking only in positive ways. Whenever I saw that inner critic coming online, I'm like, you're not welcome here. Here, higher self, how would you deal with this situation? I can do this. I am able. I am powerful. I am unlimited. And you can apply your positive thoughts to any project, any long term, short term, any desire that you have, any goal, dream, or aspiration that you have. When you start speaking from your higher self, like think of your most unconditionally loving father speaking to you, or your most unconditionally loving mother speaking to you. Imagine them, bring them in your mind's eye, and allow them to speak to you in a positive way, and see how far your soul can skyrocket. Because when you change your frequencies of how you speak to yourself, your mind expands. And Merlin told us that he's going to be teaching us mind magic. This is all it is. Mind magic is us creating our reality through the words that we're constantly feeding our brain. If we start switching to a positive diet for our mind and start switching to positive frequencies and positive affirmations, and always surrounding ourselves with people who are also bolstering um, our ability of how capable we are to accomplish tasks. If we're always surrounding ourselves with positive people and positive thoughts, we're going to explode in our abilities, because life literally bends by the power of your mind. And we've been experiencing that firsthand. We've been literally taking negative situations, applying a positive spin to them. And when we walk out the door, we see different realities.
We're bending reality
We're
with
bending
our mind.
reality.
We're already doing mind magic. We're literally bending reality.
It's mind-boggling how powerful it is.
Exactly. And you know, when he was saying that, another thing, many of us have literally been told, further to what Siman, it took him a long time to shake off his father's very strong voice in his head, just like it took me a lifetime to shake off my father's voice. My father would always say to me, from a very young age, this is the one thing he always said to me. He said, I pity the guy who marries you. I pity the guy who marries you. And I literally accepted that there was something wrong with me. And many of you are in that situation where you've accepted that your parents' words are true. You've accepted that you're not a good person. And today, here I am sitting with the fundamental realization that any man, any being, any soul, it's a privilege for them to be in my presence, let alone be married to me or be, in a relationship with me. So how do you go from something this extreme to that extreme, where you've been like, my ex marriage, I always lived my ex marriage thinking, this is too good for me, this man is too good for me. And now when I look at my ex life, you guys, I literally feel like, holy shit, how much had I dimmed my light because of my father's voice, that I am not good enough, that guy is better than me. I am more intelligent, I am more pure of heart, I am more positive, I am more abundant, I am more affluent, I am better looking. In every aspect, I'm more connected to the divine. But because of my father's voice, I lived my 20-year marriage thinking that I'm not good enough and that I have scored, or I am lucky to have him because of my father's programming. So it's so important for you to really identify what is your programming and what is the programming you've inherited from your family, because you are here, your very existence on this planet is here to transcend that and to heal yourself, to change the way you think, and then become the powerhouse that you are. So, this is super, super important. All right, this is a fun one. Mantra. I am my biggest well wisher, fan, and cheerleader.
I am my biggest well-wisher, fan, and cheerleader.
I enrich my life by speaking kindly to myself.
I enrich my life by speaking kindly to myself.
And so it fucking is.
And so it fucking is.
I love that one.
This is becoming my favorite part of the video. When you make me repeat those things, it's like, ah.
So we have two more. Stay away from people who drain your energy without apology or guilt, period.
Done.
Done. It's as simple as that. Stay away from people. This is the teaching. Stay away from people who drain your energy without apology or guilt, period.
And stay very close to people
who uplift you.
Smooch them, hug them, who uplift you.
Yes, keep the ones who uplift you very, very close and get rid of everybody else without apology, period. Okay? All right, I have a really fun affirmation for this as well. Vibration is my currency.
Vibration is my currency.
I prioritize myself without explanation and apology.
I prioritize myself without explanation or apology.
I choose to surround myself with people who uplift and inspire me.
I choose to surround myself with people who uplift and inspire me.
And so it is.
And so it is.
I love that. All right, and the last one. Oh, the last one. This was a big one for me. Oh my God. Ignore any opinions of others that don't enhance your life. Ignore the opinions of others. So, all my life, I absorbed, and many of you, we're all empaths, we're all sponges, we're all light workers, we're all very similar. We are like sponges. We absorb everything everybody says to us. You're not nice, you're greedy, you talk too much, you're obnoxious, your nose is too big, you're fat, you're not this, you're not that, you're not that. Everything, we absorb it like a sponge. Why? Because we believe it. When I started my YouTube channel 2.5 years ago, November 2019, 2021, 22. Oh, this November it'll be 3 years. Wow. Holy shit. Okay, so it's
Time
2.5
flies.
years now. When I started my YouTube channel, initially it was just mine. He had his own channel. And then we combined our channels again based on guidance maybe a year and a half ago. But when I first started it, my guides literally said to me, you're now becoming a public figure. People are going to have a million different opinions of you. A million. They said to me, your success is directly proportional to how much of a I don't give a fuck attitude you have to what people say about you. And trust me, that's very hard. Being a public figure is not for the faint of heart because people call you names. They basically shove all their projections at you. And many of you have seen people doing that to us. But luckily, from day one, because of our guides training, we've not really given a fuck. So we've moved forward very
Just
fast.
the other day, somebody commented, guys, please stop using the word fuck. I'm like, fuck no. Go watch our videos.
Okay, so let's address that. When somebody does that to us, that's an expectation. Number one, we're taking time out of our day to make a video for you. You're coming here as students to learn from us. Accept that at a fundamental level. We're not here for entertainment. We're not here to, and many of you watching don't need to hear this, but this is so hilarious. Once I was eating a papaya in Costa Rica in my channel, and somebody said, can you please not eat when you're in your YouTube? And I'm like, can you please not, wear clothes when you sit and watch me? Like, I can have expectations for you too. I can say, can you please not watch me?
That's equally ridiculous. Yes.
I can give you a whole bunch of I can say, hey, can you raise your vibration before you watch my channel? Or what else? Yeah, somebody says that's why your fucking throat chakra is blocked. I just love this. I'm so happy you guys say fuck. Okay, listen. Okay, I have something so funny to say. So recently, a friend of mine who we met at the retreat at the Tulum event, she says to me, I said to her, there's one thing that all our core audience fans, like, the people who just love us, our soul family, there's one thing in common that everybody likes about us. It's funny because every single person who loves us likes the same thing about us. And she says, what is that? I said, they love our fuck you attitude. They love this. They love how we speak our mind. And she says, that's exactly what I love. That's what keeps me glued to your channel. And then I said to her, yeah, it would be nice if we could just have, because we don't only speak to those people, because our guides trained us. They said, guys, don't just speak to your fuck you family because they love you. You don't need to do anything. They just fucking love you. So they're training us. Our guides are training us to not speak to the core, not speak to you guys, but they're trying to train us to speak to the periphery, where people just come and say, let's see what this EldoRa and Siman are about, and let's see if we like them or not. And our guides are saying, speak to them, which is the harder part. So now we're getting really good at that. And so you know what this girl says to me? She says, listen, you need to have a fuck you EldoRa and Siman channel. And it should be like invite only. And it should only be people who have initiated as the fuck you. So literally we're like, all right, you've been fuck you'd. You've been fuck you'd. Enter the portal. She's like, because we deserve all the fuck you real deep teachings. I'm like, what a great idea. So she's like, what if you start a Patreon channel or something and have only the fuck you family? So we may
Which we're
do
planning
that.
to do in the near future.
Yes, yes, there's so much coming. All right, so
I think we covered it all.
this
Oh yeah,
last
the
one.
mantra.
So opinion of others. Hold on. So this is a deep one. So one of the things that's helped me skyrocket in my, in our YouTube channel, people can be mean, people can be rude, people can be very obnoxious, people can not be in gratitude, like, and literally they can have 100 different opinions of you and how you should be living your lives, your friends, your family, everybody. The fundamental shift in your consciousness, in your psyche, will happen when you realize at a deep level, no one else's opinion of me matters but my own. Say it. No one else's opinion of me matters but my own. And so it is.
And so it is. That's the most powerful affirmation I've ever heard, because once we get that nobody else's opinion of you matters, of me matters, that's a game changer.
Yes.
It's like then you're fully in the driver's seat and you can create any reality you like.
Yes.
Because you're no longer wasting time. You're no longer trying to
and
please others.
You're no longer people pleasing, and you're on a different trajectory. Really, this is the highest shift
some
you can
of
make.
the most ingenious inventors of all time, like Tesla and all these people, they've been ridiculed. And even myself, as like, I used to do all these science experiments because I was like the brainy kid at when I was young, and all my friends used to ridicule me, but I turned out to be better in school than them and whatnot. And because I didn't care what other people think. That was one of the gifts that I had. Light workers, we are different in so many ways, and our genius is expressed in so many ways that humans cannot even comprehend. So whatever ways you're weird are your biggest gifts, and don't suppress them, because you might dance in a certain way and people might find that funny, but your movements may be changing frequencies and dimensions. So always be true to yourself. That's your
Yes.
biggest gift.
And guys, for those of you who love us, it's let me give you a teaching of this in our own lives. If we cater to the 10 or the 20 or the 30%, whoever, of people who don't like us speaking authentically, of who don't like, and if we cater to all of them, our channel would not be so fucking high frequency, because we would be like taking into account everybody's thoughts and opinions of us and diluting the power of our message. Our messages are so powerful because we speak in 100% authenticity, and we don't care if you love us, if you don't love us. We're here to teach you.
We're only here to speak
guide
our
you.
truth.
We're here to speak our truth.
And we don't dilute the truth.
And we don't care for anyone's validation. We don't care for anyone's approval. And we've not always been like that. This has been our mastery training. We're here to transcend that in our own lives and then teach it to the rest of the world. And that is what you guys are doing right now. You guys are the forerunners.
And that's our true fuck you teaching. We don't just say
Yes.
fuck you for the hell of it.
Yes.
We say fuck you because that's our biggest teaching.
That's
because
our
once
biggest
you
gift to you.
embody your fuck you, you are a master.
Yes.
Fuck you really means, it's not just a swear word. It really means I don't give a fuck what you think of me because I know where I'm going and I know who I am. That's the teaching.
We really need a rap song like fuck you, fuck
We're
you.
making a rap song, by the way, for the office of Christ.
We are love, light, and fuck you. Fuck you.
Oh, go Rothschild. Go Rothschild.
That'll be the first music track I produce. So seriously, we need to write a fucking rap song on We Are Love. All I know is it's going to start like this. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
If that triggers you, then you're going to turn the music off.
And for any of you, this triggers, really, even if your children use the word, like somebody says, oh my God, how can you say, 2 years ago, there was this one guy, he sent us such a high vibrational comment that I reposted his comment and I said, fucking love you. And somebody was like, no, he reposted my message and said, fucking love you, EldoRa. And someone said, how can you talk to EldoRa like that? And I said, guys, I would rather take a fucking love you from this guy who loves me and who appreciates me than a fake I love you, mom, from someone who doesn't love me. Does that make sense? So fuck is just a word. It's the energy we give to you, it that changes everything. If you're speaking to someone with that word in a hostile, condescending,
demeaning way,
that's not okay. But if you're inspiring someone to literally get rid of all these shackles of don't say this and don't say that. Many people cannot speak their truth because they're so worried about what everybody thinks, what everybody needs to hear. So their message gets diluted.
And if you cannot
Even
say
spiritual
fuck,
teachers,
if you cannot say the word fuck, then I guarantee you your throat chakra is blocked at some
yes.
level.
So when we say fuck, it's not to trigger
So
you.
there's
It's
work to
not
do.
to make fun of the word. It's not. It is our biggest teaching. It's our biggest gift for the planet, because that shows you that you are putting too much energy in this word that's triggering you. Maybe in your young age you were told not to speak a certain way,
Or
maybe
to be proper all the time.
yes. So it's always,
Let go of all
everything's a
these rules
teaching.
and inhibitions and be free. That's the main
Yes.
teaching.
Yes. Oh, our audience is going crazy. I love this. They love this. All right, you've been fuck you'd. You've been fuck you'd. Oh my God. We love you guys. We're off
Take
for
care,
dinner
guys.
now. See you guys. That was fun. Bye now.